Spoon! Let's make a spoon. All right, so like I said, got some specific requirements for this assignment. We're making kitchen utensils using the Form Workspace in Fusion. Basically, what that means is be using the form edit tools and such in different ways. Tonight, we're going to start with making just a basic spoon, and I'll show you how to put a little zhuzh on it there. But you need to make 3 different utensils. 2 can be iterations of the same, so like a spoon and a spork, spoon and a ladle, like a perforated ladle, same thing.
A spoon and a melon baller.
That is technically close enough. I don't know. Or it could be you look, you can make 3 completely separate things. That's fine. But it's more of the you can't make 3 different versions, one's a spoon, one's a spork, one's a slotted spoon. No, no, no. Unless they're completely different models, there you go. Anyhow, but I'm going to show you how to do all that kind of stuff. Tonight, we're just going to focus on the spoon. So let me switch over to Fusion, show you what I'm talking about. All right. So basic spoon. And I'm going to switch to appearance mode because I already put fancy colors on it. So that looks like a spoon, don't it? Donuts. I'm going to show you how to make use of all of this stuff, but basically the difference here is notice how very rounded it is. That's really what the form workspace is for. So far, we've been working really dimensional and sorry, um, axial and dimensionally driven assignments and projects, meaning start a sketch on a plane, extrude it one direction, or revolve it and around an axis, that sort of thing. But everything's still pretty rigid. This you can pretty much free flow and play in the form workspace. And of course, we're going to go over, like I said, you can make different versions of the same. So in this case, you can see the super winged spoon here. One has holes in it for a slotted spoon. The other one has really kind of chunky tines for a kind of an awkward spork. Next time, I'm going to show you how to make something less straightforward, something with sharp angles, that sort. So kind of sort of kitchen knife. But that'll be next time. So let's start a new project. Standard, save it. Sample. Because one of the things you definitely need to make sure to be doing during this, and as we go forward, the form workspace, because of how projects or how the form tools work, you could very quickly gobble up resources on your computer, and it will very easily possibly crash on you. I'm not saying I'm going to be doing stuff to make sure your computer crashes, but know that that is possible. So save early, save often. This one, we'll say new spoon. Oh, nope, that's 2 ends. Gonna be punchy tonight. All right. So you can, of course, start by, if you want, importing a model. So from there, we go to Canvas, and from computer, I realize I forgot to confirm if I actually have a model here. So let's have a look-see. How does this look? I don't. All right. So let me quickly pull up a spoon model. Give me one moment. There. Okay, so I found my spoon image, plopped in there, hit OK. I have to select which one, and I'm going to have to select a plane, so the XY plane. There we go. Don't have to worry about size, and it's kind of sort of smack in the middle, so that's going to work. There we go. Next, of course, go to right-click on the canvas, Calibrate. How big of a spoon should the spoon be? Pick 2 points on either ends of the actual image, or sorry, of the actual picture of the image, not the overall size. Right now, 34 millimeter spoon. Brain is not braining on measurements. Always one more thing that I forgot to grab. Let's see here. How big should a spoon be? I don't know. Let's say reasonable 150 millimeters. Suddenly seems giant, but not really. F6 to resize. Okay, so our spoon now is 150 millimeters. That's about an average-ish. If you want to actually measure a spoon, more power to you. All right. Now, normally we would start with a sketch, yada, 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 but no. We're going to start by going into the form workspace. Select the little gummy bear, with the or the gummy ball with a starburst on it. There we go. Now, through these models, you can see like the spoon, such like that, which technically, yeah, kind of looks more like a melon ball or a soup spoon, whatever. We're not going to get into cutlery. Um, how would you make this? Originally, we would have to like create a sketch, make this separately. We'd have to like make maybe a revolve for the body. Maybe this would have to be a cylinder that we chop things out of. With the Form Workspace, we can start, and I recommend starting this way with one of these with this project with both a sphere and then a plane. So basically, we're going to make a sphere. We're going to chop it in half, and then we're going to make a plane, and then we're going to add thickness to the whole thing. So to start with the sphere. I'm going to select the XY plane as I've been working, or I've been working on already. Doesn't matter the rotation, but let's kind of put it there. All right. Now, if your canvas isn't smack in the middle, it's going to be kind of awkward, but it's not the end of the world. Just trying to kind of get it close enough because, again, this is going to be kind of just a starting point. All right. So I'm going to try to make it the size of the width of the spoon there, and that's going to be by dimension. Whatever that ends up being, there you go. Now, you can, of course, apply symmetry here, but you can do it afterwards, too. Also, you can't make this too simple right now, but I do recommend keep your spheres, keep everything like this, minimal amount of faces until you need to add more. You can always add complexity later. So let's say if I dial this back to, instead of 8 longitudinal, 8 latitudinal, we'll dial it back to 6. Smooth things out a little bit more. What if I go too far? 4 and 4, you start getting weird flat spots. Now, right now, it's not really going to do anything, but it does definitely start to misshape. You can see how it kind of flattens a little bit on the sides. If I go even less, obviously we lose round. So I would say for this, 6 is a good number. That works well. All right, there we go. Now, instead of like trying to remanipulate any of this stuff just yet, let's just chop it in half. I'm going to use a select all box from the right, and I'm going to select all of the faces, edges, and vertices above the midplane. So, anything in the northern hemisphere. Delete, gone. Now, this does reshape the sphere a little bit. You lose a little bit of the full roundness, but that's all right. This also makes this a hollow body. So right now in the Form Workspace, we're basically just working with the surfaces. That is different from the Surface Workspace, but we'll talk about, actually, we probably won't even get to that. Don't worry about it. Right now, it's just a surface. What that means is if I were to save this, finish form, it's going to turn into a body. It's just a surface. It's not a solid. So it's not a hemisphere. It's like if you had, pretend that you have like, if you have a balloon and you were able to cut it in half and it was able to stay in that shape, you would only have like the thickness of the balloon. It wouldn't be a solid half of a sphere. That kind of thing. Not a great analogy, but it's close enough. Also, anytime you have a surface, it's going to be denoted by the little orange partial wraparound and usually a gold inside and metallic outside, or if it's on auto color, still going to have that gold inside. Just shows you. All right, so let's go back into the Form Workspace. I just dropped out of there just to show you. And it's green now because I just went to auto color. That's all. All right. That's what we're going to use. So we're going to manipulate this a little bit, bring back up the spoon image, and we're going to use some of the tools we have here to reshape. So this part doesn't really matter. Do you want to stretch it to make the width of the spoon or the length of the spoon scoop here, or do you want to shrink the bowl a little bit? Doesn't really matter. In this case, let's go ahead and shrink the bowl first. So we're going to go back to edit form. Now, so far, we did talk a little bit about how you can make different selections. Right now, the default is select all. So if I select all the things, it's going to select the faces. It's going to select the edges, which are the lines, as well as the vertices. It's going to select all the things. You can isolate by, if you just want to work by vertices, it's going to just bring up the little points. If you want to work just by edges, you can only select the edges. If you double click, it selects everything in the round. And same thing for faces, just the spaces between the edges. So I often like working by just vertices for this point. You'll find your own methods. There's no requirements or anything. And I'm going to want to shrink some of these. So I can select just the bottom. So not selecting the upper edge, but just those. And oops. and just use the arrow key and drag those up. But it's really kind of restrained. And I want to actually move this a little bit more softly. So over here in the section on the toolbox, there's a drop box for soft modifications. What this does is it allows the program to kind of blend your movements rather than it being quite so direct, like we talked about last class. Essentially, you have some options here of like the distance. So whatever your selection is, how far the area of effect extends. So if I select this section here, let me change to back to appearance mode. There we go. Might be able to see it a little more clearly. All right, so by vertices, soft modification, I'm just selecting the bottom ones. You see how it starts as more of dark red, goes lighter red before these lines go to white. That is showing both the distance of effect as well as the actual impact of the effect. What I mean by that is dark red, it's more intense. Lighter red, less intense. White, little to no effect. So now as I move this, it squishes the whole thing a bit more. Now you can see it is affecting the very top ridge. I don't want that. So let me Control Z, that whole thing. Come on. Ugh, there we go. And I just want to shrink the distance. So right now, the distance is actually dimensional. Says 26.7. I don't know why it's that far by default. Let's just shrink that to like 10 millimeters. All right. Now it shrank to the dark red stays the same, but it shifts to white very quickly and then goes to black. Black means no effect at all. So now when I move that up, it's only affecting that area in between. So I can play around with that. Maybe instead we'll go to 15. There we go. A little bit better range of effect. You have different transitions. You can make it a smooth transition, linear, or bulge. We're going to leave it in smooth. The weight, you can obviously have it impact more or less. So if it's right in the middle, the impact is kind of blended, the effectiveness of it. If I move out the slider all the way, the whole thing is affected exactly the same. So you're kind of sort of defeating the purpose of the blend, but there you go. So let's go back to where it was and put that right back in the middle. We'll put that back to 0. Okay, so now I can just kind of squish these a little bit, and I just use them a little bit more softly. See, the 15 millimeter was too much on that one. So if the whole thing moves on you, shrink it down a bit. There we go. That seems a little less intense of a spoon. But these are just ways that you can, rather than manipulating them precisely and one-on-one or by range or stuff like that, soft modifiers allow you just a little bit more wiggle room. So I like working with those, especially when I'm trying to like shift to a general area. Then as I go to work the top, I'm going to turn off soft modification so I can work more of moving things front and back. Now for this section, we can leave it on vertices. And I'm going to select the front and we'll drag it forward. See what that gets us. Actually, that's not bad at all. Pretty much. Kind of got a little bit of like a, I don't know, spaceship thing going down here. But one thing you will note is until I finish the tool, you can see this kind of ghost image of what was, the ghost of spoons past. What this is doing is it's just giving you a ghost of a referential point of what you just did to think about. What you just did, so you can at least have a reference point. Like I said, there's no history slider for this. It's just the Form Workspace. No history gets recorded until you finish Form and start modifying it from there. So that's Fusion's way of just giving you a point of reference to play from or to refer back to. All right, so I'll do the same. I'm going to select from here, and you can see what I'm selecting more clearly from the side. I'm selecting the upper rung and the next section down to slide backwards. So now, just going to drag these a little bit back. Close enough. I don't need to worry about this in between. That's not bad. Spoon might be, again, a little bit much. Maybe I'll squish this a little bit more in the bottom. I'll switch back on soft modification. Let's select by the very bottom, Drag that up a little bit. Yeah, that's actually slightly better. Now, if you go too far, you're going to get an inversion. I mean, that's not bad, or it's not wrong, but less spoony than I want. So let's Control Z that. Somewhere in there, it's a little bit softer. Yeah, that works. Okay, kind of sort of got a bowl. That'll work. So now that I've hit OK, I can move on. So now I want to work on making the handle. The handle I can use with the sorry, creating a plane. I'm sorry, my head just got tripped up there. Something that's still going to bother me a bit is because I have this center line here, and it's just going to keep messing with me. So if you want, you can ignore that or try to ignore it, but we're just going to work on how we are. Ultimately, I should have, and I'm realizing this now, I should have moved that image over a little bit. So I'm going to move that image over as best I can to kind of get it in the center. There we are. And you should definitely do the same. So I can select the whole body now because I'm not on the edit object, or I'm not on the form edit. So it just selects the whole thing. And it all moved over just 1 millimeter. Great. Okay. The reason I wanted to turn that on is now the y-axis is much closer to the center line. Now, I did not apply symmetry on this object yet. I should have done it right from the get-go, but I got ahead of myself. So remember, symmetry, you can apply internally or externally. Those make duplicates. Internal symmetry is from left to right, and circular is for round objects. Now, it works a lot, even though we're working on something kind of roundish, not really what we need to use right now. Mirror internal is more or less just a symmetrical mirror. Now, thing is, I don't have an actual line to work on in here. So this is why this is one of the issues with working with more minimal faces. You kind of lose out on how much you're working with. So I'm going to select one face, go to the other. Problem is, see, it's trying to make mirroring across there. So let's see what happens. That should be okay. But basically what that means is now, if I were to go back to modify or form edit, drag that out, now at least it's doing the same thing on both sides. Now, probably going to run into a problem later, but that's okay for now. I just canceled out of that so I don't have to change anything. So we're still working with the spoon, still have our ghost image there. That's all right. Okay. Like I said, should have moved the image over earlier. There we are. Next tool is I'm going to use a plane. Now, plane is literally just what we've been working with. Just instead of it being on like a virtual plane, I'm going to create a two-dimensional, no thickness form. So I'm going to pick that center line, and it doesn't really matter where, somewhere in the center-ish. I'm going to draw outward. Doesn't have to be all the way, so close enough is close enough. And of course, I can shrink this as needed. I would say get it kind of sort of in the middle. And just rotate close enough. There we go. You can add faces as you like, but I would not add any faces width-wise. Only add them down the length. Couple of faces, so all right, 4 faces, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have left and right. In this case, I can add symmetry, and I could have done this before. Right now, apply mirror. Do I want it down the length? Yes. See the green line appear right down the y-axis? Perfect. I don't want it on the other one. Okay, great. So now, automatically, whatever I do to one side is going to happen to the other. Okay. Same deal, form edit. You can see that is only that plain thick. All right. Let's work with edges on this one. So as I select the back one here, I selected the right one. The left one is automatically highlighted in yellow, and it's going to move with my choices. I drag it backwards, and this is why I said, like, don't worry about making that plane the right size. We're going to get it kind of sort of close, and then tweak it from there. All right, that stretches there. Now this one, I don't want to move too much closer because we're going to use a different tool to join these together. But I do want to work with some of the other ones. Let's switch to vertices, and I'm going to select some of these outside ones. Drag that in, it starts to shrink toward the actual edge of the spoon image. Closer, closer, super good. That one looks good there. This one, I'm going to drag outward and then downward. Or you could use the pan tool and do them both at once. Doesn't matter. Now, something about what I'm working on here, I still have a flat point, or I still have a flat back here. I could just select that center point, drag it out a little bit, and get a curved surface. Or if I'm really not liking where that ends up, I could just delete that point. So I'll hit OK. It didn't select the point. Come on. Why is it not letting me this time? Where's my point? There you are. No. Now, if you delete that, it will reshape everything pretty badly, but that's because I had already drug it out there. If I go back to the edit form and select by edge, select that whole edge again, and ultimately all I've done there is it's just made this back. I'm just making it larger. You can see more clearly. Now it has a much smoother transition toward the back. So either way works fine. You got some options there. Also, I've just been using move around here. You can scale these up and down. You can rotate these. So working by edges does do some fun stuff. By vertice, you have a little more direct control. Now the problem here is I can't move that left and right because it's smack in the center. I can only go forward and back because I have symmetry on, mirror on. So in all reality, honestly, I probably shouldn't have bothered deleting that thing because I think it was fitting pretty well. So just wanted to show you what the options are. Let's back that up. So this is why I say, like, you can, as long as you're still in the workspace, you can continue to use Control Z. Whoop. I made too many moves. I can't go back enough. Oh, well, that's all right. We'll simply make it work. Okay, there we go. That works pretty well. All right, close enough is close enough. I like it. Hit OK. All right. Let's save there. Spoon, yeah, spoon and handle. All right. The other tool we're going to use is the bridge tool. This is how you can join these sort of surfaces together and such. Go to Modify, Bridge, and it builds a bridge. Create segments connecting between opposing faces within a body or between two bodies. So there we go. Nice. Now I have symmetry applied to both of these. We'll see if it gives us an error. Sometimes it does, and that's okay. At worst, all you got to do is turn off symmetry. So let's see. I select side one, which is over here. I double click to select both. Go back in the toolbox, go to side two. I want over here, and it assumes because I have mirror on, either way, it's selecting both sides of that edge. There we go. Follow curve, sure. Select preview, and it'll at least give you in block display mode, it'll at least give you a preview. Now, you see all of these lines in here? That's just way too many. It's asking if I want to add 3 faces between here. Keep it simple. Let's try just one. There we go. That simplifies it. Great. Don't need any twists or anything like that. Creases are for later if you want to keep it a sharp edge. We can hit OK and see what happens. It moves some of the edges a little bit together, but all it did is just make basically a loft between the two. That's kind of how the bridge tool works. If you decide that, you know what, actually I really wanted to keep those creases, I can't bring the toolbox back up and edit it, but I can Control Z and reapply the bridge. Same deal. Select over there, side two, select over here, preview, it saves everything. Let's try with keep creases this time. And it looks kind of funky. So let's not keep the crease. Repeat bridge one more time. Side two, there we go. Yada, 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 take off the creases. Okay. All right, good. I like it. So let's go ahead and hide that image. That's kind of getting in the way. I'm going to save there. Save. Bridge tool. All right. Savey, savey. Now, I do want to add some curvature to this just because I feel like it. Go back to Edit Form, and looking at the piece from the side, I'm going to select my vertices. All I'm doing here is I'm just going to select maybe the first two sections, drag that up a little bit, maybe a bit more, drag that up. Maybe we'll curve it a bit. Let's select all of those, up a little bit. So this is just, again, ways you can continue to manipulate this. All right, I like it. From the side, seems reasonable. From the top and around, seems reasonable. Okay. Last tool on here for this part is Thicken. And it does exactly what it sounds like. It gives thickness to the body. And this is, but you can work this on already three-dimensional forms with actual thickness to the surface. But obviously it works really well here where it's just a plain thickness. Select there, just select the whole thing, add dimension to it. I would say like 2 or 3 millimeters, something like that. Now it's going to give you this display mode again. You have thickness types. Sharp gives a sharp edge, soft gives a soft edge, and direction, leave it at normal. I will explain how to make use of no edge later. So soft edge works really well. Hit OK. Bam. No issues with the bridge, no issues with symmetry. Now my spoon has some thickness to it. If you decide you want it thicker, you do have to Control Z, reapply thickness, and let's make it 3 millimeters thick. There we go. Basically, thickness is just a three-dimensional offset tool, just like shell tool, only instead of making a solid object hollow, I'm making a flat object thicker. So same deal. So I made my chunky spoon. Okay, great. You can certainly continue to modify this if you like, now that this is admittedly real chunky. You can go back to Edit Form. Let's play with scale and such a little bit. I'm going to select by faces. Let's select all of those. It's only going to select what's entirely in. And I'm going to use, this time, I'm going to use a scale tool. Right now, uniform. The center, scale it up. Oh my God, it's super chunky. I can scale it upwards. We're making just entirely useless tools now. I didn't say your utensils actually have to be technically functional. I just said they have to look the part. So, yeah, that's definitely like bludgeoning worthy spoon. You can definitely gonna beat somebody with that. You can rotate stuff. That gets real funky once you start getting into three-dimensional forms. I don't like that one. But yeah, play around. Experiment with this. You can, again, scale this up or down as you like, all that kind of stuff. What I did before, I added wings to that one. Remember, you could make extrusions to the surface within the, I inverted everything. You can make extrusions into the surface by selecting by face. Instead of just moving outward, which widens, instead, I'm going to press and hold Alt. That makes an extrusion. And that's how I made my Cobra spoon. Do what you like. All right. There you go. I'll go. Last thing is go to finish form. Hopefully there's no errors. If there are, we'll fix it later. Okay. The flying spoon. Last thing would, of course, be put an appearance on. Press A for appearance. Bring up the appearance tool. I don't know. Let's make it... Ooh, wood. Rich mahogany. Perfect. There, wooden flying spoon. You'd never need it. All right, there you go. I realize I misspelled spoon. So that's how to make it. It's pretty quick, simple. Overall, however you want to create a spoon in your design is up to you. This is just a very straightforward, with admittedly some odd features, spoon. This is however you want to interpret this, just kitchen utensil. Main thing is I can easily modify this to make another by, let's say, first labeling first. Let's select copy paste, make a second one, and I'll drag this over, bonk that over. Great. I did say we need to make sure that these are on separate components. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'll select one. Nope, not double click. Select that one. Let's kick that into a component. All right. It didn't grab the first, so we'll drag and drop that one into there. Great. Regular spoon is in one. Let's start a new component. Make sure I don't nest those. Let's say spork. All right, we'll drag and drop my other spoon into the spork component. Expand that out. Relabel so I can keep, or a sprock, apparently. Thank you. That is a terrible abomination of a Vulcan. Something you can modify easily with this, or you can easily modify this by, let's start a sketch on that plane. Just to help with reference, I can use project, use the P, or press P, or go down to project by body, select the spoon, hit OK. Now I can hide that body if I need to. Ooh, didn't select all that. That's weird. And I can just draw into here. Let's say, let's draw a center line here. Oh, I made this difficult for myself. I don't really have a point to work from. All right, let's find somewhere where I can work with that. Turn that into a construction line. Now I at least have something I can find the center of and draw straight upwards. Neato burrito. Great. That should be construction line also. All right. From there, I don't know if I'm going to make these into like fork tines. Let's make it easy. I'll use a center point rectangle somewhere on there. Let's make it, I don't know, 2 millimeters wide and sure, wide enough or long enough to where it actually goes through. That seems excessive, maybe 40. There we are. Great. And because I want to be lazy about this, let me make some minor adjustments to this. Just adding a fillet to the back end. I don't know, 0.5. Let's make it 1. Neat. Rounded. I can use rectangle pattern and not have to deal with that. Let's double click that whole thing. Let's make this direction symmetrical. Let's make multiples of these. Oh, let's say 5 of them. Close enough. Great. Finish sketch. Unhide my strange sprock. And I can extrude all of those sketches, or if I'm having difficulty selecting them, go to the side and select all the things. There we go. Oops, it didn't select, it deselected that one that time. There we go. And we'll just drag that straight down through so it makes a cut. Okay. Okay, it's more of like a salad tong. I don't know, whatever. And if you want to add a little more fanciness to it, let's go ahead and select the inside faces with a fillet of all that. Let's say, I don't know, 0.5. Maybe we can go all the way up to 1. Nope, 1 is too much. So let's say 0.8. Fine, 0.5 it is. Jeez, leave me alone. Hit OK. There we go. More like a back scratcher, but spoon can be too, thanks. All right.
Back scratch is kitchen utensil.
Yeah, it is. Wooden sprock. So there you go. So that's how you can use some of the our basic like sketch and extrude tools, stuff like that, to modify a single tool. So next time we're going to go over using some more advanced techniques to make some more unique tools and such, or kitchen tool, kitchen utensil. I don't know. I mean, technically there's hammers in the kitchen, the meat mallets or something. So any of that works. So yeah, play around with it. Form Workspace, experiment. That is very much just scratching the surface of what the Form Workspace can do, but that's a really easy way to go about making something like this, like a dished form, as a spoon, something like that, by using a predetermined form, like a sphere, chopping it in half or deleting sections away from it, add a handle by using a plane, join the two parts together with the bridge tool, and then add dimension to it with the thickness tool. Play around with it from there. Modify it with the Sketch and Extrude or any of the other tools we've used so far. So play about, see where you get with it.